Now I'm going to show you how to browse the course and some of the other tools that we have up here. First of all, let me show you around the menu, the play controls that we have down here. We have the play and pause button, which will help us if we need to pause, we can pause at any point. It will pause the characters typing. If we need to, we also have the next and previous task and next task buttons. If we want to navigate, go back to something we did before, we can use these buttons to easily go back as far as we need to. Or we can go ahead. So that's pretty simple. These are very useful. You can also drag the time bar anywhere you need to, and it'll go back and navigate in the same way. Now, this is also something to point out: the slower and faster controls. If the typing is too quick, you can adjust that with this speed. Make the typing slower if you need to. And let me show you the difference. Okay, so you can see very slow now. You can also go very quick. There we go. And that should be, plenty to help you navigate all the steps you need to. If you ever want to skip something, you can skip it, but be warned that if you do skip stuff, you'll be missing, or you'll be leaping ahead, and you might miss something important, and the later steps won't make as much sense. So I would highly advise you to go through one step at a time and to complete everything. You'll learn more that way. Now, if you ever want to look at the lesson, maybe to view an overview of what all the steps that are involved, or you want to see how much progress you've made, you can click on this, the Change Lesson button, and it will allow you to change lessons. You can go to the different steps and see the different tasks that are associated with each step. So, for example, in Lesson 2, Step 2, we had to construct the code, understand the code, identify mistakes. If I click on one of those buttons, it will take me directly to that step. I can go anywhere in the lesson I want to. I can skip ahead if I want to. If I wanted to learn about a specific type, a topic in a later lesson, I am free to do that. However, be careful that if you jump around, it may not make as much sense because you've missed previous things again. But that's possible. So we'll go back to this where we were, and that is how we can use the Change Lesson window to navigate in our course. Okay, this next button is the Preview Game button. This will let us see the game in a large screen mode. So we have a few different controls. We can expand this to see the lesson list again. We can go to any step in the lesson and see the results of that step. This is the very first step when we have nothing before we added the main scene. You can also navigate with these buttons right here. Go to the next step, and this will do one thing at a time. That is when we translated the player to the right without time delta time, and it went very fast. If we want to see that again, we can hit reset step as many times as needed. It will reset the scene back to that step. This is where we say translate the player to the right with delta time, where the ship is moving at a more appropriate speed. Again, we can hit the next step, keep going through the different changes to the code. You can go back and forward as you need to. For example, let me jump to get the vertical input from the user and translate the player up and down with the vertical input. This step is where we have full control over the ship. And to demonstrate, I'm using the arrow keys to control the ship. So in this game preview, it's a running game. It's running live. In fact, you can even control the ship from the course. If you are on a specific lesson, let's go to move the player, the last step, and this preview will work just the same. It's just a smaller version of the game preview. That's pretty cool. So we go back to the preview game. There's one more button. You can go to the start of the course. If you want to jump to the end of this course, that will show you what we will create in this course. Okay, so we have the aliens and the shooting, the collision detection. Now, if you're bored, you want to just play the game, you can click Preview Future Game, and this is the actual final game at the point of when this course was released. Now, it's very possible that the game will add more features as we go, so that's just a preview of what the game will be working towards in later courses. So that is the preview game. We also have the course browser, which allows you to preview all of the code in each of the steps. The scene steps don't have any code associated with them, but then these different steps have all the code associated with them that we need. And so you can see all of the code from that single file. If we go to the end, there's an example. Alright, so the other button is the main menu, and we have the notification button, which we saw earlier. So that's the end of the Getting Started video. Go ahead and go back to Unity now, and you can hit the Training Room button to get started yourself.